BeastNet Podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
We don't bite hard.
Might as well just bust right into it. I'm horrible about introducing people, so.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, listeners. I've got Adam from Beasts OCR on the show. If you haven't noticed, we're already talking because, well, we've known each other a while, so.
Days, maybe.
A few. In fact, I just found my Beast OCR buff when I was doing some stuff in the garage because I'm finally I've got a lot of the medals up, but then all the other random stuff that I have from OCR, I've been going through all the random bags and finally getting the garage. Like, I have it set up enough that I can do the treadmill, the row machine, I can lift weights, I can do that, but not fully set up for everything else. So I was like rearranging stuff and I'm like, oh, hey, here's this. The only thing I can't find, and it's been missing for a bit, is my original Beast jersey.
Oh no, like the old school ones with the green stripe?
The one that, like, I think there's only like 4 of us that had it.
Oh, like
the Legendborn, like the original Legendborn.
First one, there was only a few that had that one.
Yeah, so I think I had one, Ted had one, I think Andrew, I think, had one, but there was only a few of us that got that one. And I don't know which. Amber thinks she knows which box it's in. It's either in a box that's here or I still have like a storage unit in Washington. So it might be in one of those boxes. So I'm like, damn it.
Takes so long with a big roof like that to find random things.
Well, because we put most of our stuff into a pod, and pretty much if it didn't fit in the pod, it didn't go. And then we came down once with the Kia and put a bunch of that stuff in storage down here. Down here. And then Amber came down with the dog and the 2 cats later. And she brought another van down, but there was still a few things that just didn't make it. So they're in a storage unit with Benton stuff up in Seattle still. So there's a few things that were like, where is this? And I'm like, I bet it's up that damn storage unit.
Hiding around the corner. We were actually talking about maybe because it's 10 years in November that Beasts OCR has been around. And we were talking about with the little birthday cake party hangout at Trail Mix this year and camp out and stuff, if we should bring those options back on the Legendborn site for a couple months, just in case folks wanted those or some new ones or something else in between.
Nice. That'd be awesome.
Whatever, kind of fun and silly, but like there's been a couple people that have been just like, oh, I love the new ones, but can I still get some of the old ones? So maybe we open it up and I don't know, maybe somebody wants something. But there's been at least 2 people that have said we need to get some of that old school Legendborn love going on.
I would like to find that one because that was an original. If nothing, just to like put it with all the rest of the stuff that I have in my, like garage of my memorabilia of racing for the last 9 years. Wow, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my first race was the Beasts in Montana in 2015. So
the Founders Race. That's when they had the cool little spiky medal.
Yep. Yeah. So my first Spartan medal was the Beast with the spiky little thing. So, and then this year I've got the weekend little spinner. So, because I did the Houston trifecta with more
those as cool as they are in person as they are online. Because I actually kind of you remember the spinner pogs?
Yeah.
That's what they look like to me. I just want to slam them on some pogs.
Yeah, it's cool as hell. It's one of the cooler medals that I've gotten, so I was pretty happy with it. So yeah, I did the Houston trifecta with more heart than scars. So which was a blast. So, and then I'm doing North Carolina with them.
Good people right there.
And then I think I'm going to be doing the Austin Super with the URUC group down here. So which they're the ones that got the ruck straps. So we've talked about you a couple times. So
ruck straps. I just used mine Saturday, did a half marathon ruck, and I'll tell you, it was, when you get out there and you start getting that couple hours under weight and your shoulders start feeling that kind of that dig in. Oh my gosh, it feels like you're a
so
brand new
nice just to
person.
lift those things up.
Just
Yeah.
let your spine breathe and your shoulders breathe for a
Well,
minute.
because I was with him. I was with Juan Carlos this weekend doing a rock.
No
Um,
way.
yep, I
He's
was
such
with
a
him this
cool
weekend
guy.
doing a
I'm
rock, and
so
then
jealous.
we there's a new thing that he's putting together that works in the sandbags. That's freaking awesome. Because we were playing with it on the rock this weekend. So Juan Carlos has some amazing ideas. So the rock strap, there's a lot more possibly coming down the pipe that people don't know about.
I'm excited to see what happens. I'll definitely be first in line to buy whatever new stuff he does.
Oh yeah,
I'll tell
because
you what
it's
my favorite thing with those ruck straps is
mhm.
I don't know what to do with my hands either. So like I finally have a place I can just sit there and just chill while I'm rucking,
Yeah,
right? Because otherwise I'm flapping around.
I do the same thing. I mean, you don't
You
know how many
know,
times like on a race or something, I end up like slapping people's hands because my hands are just like, all over the place. So that is, you have that, you can just put them right up there and grab and yeah.
yeah, I do that kind of like 90s mall power walking if I start going faster, right? And like I, big old watch, and
Hmm.
my wife has her watch on the opposite arm, so I'm about to clack, and she'll be
Yeah.
like, "Hey," and so no, it sounds so silly, but like
Yeah.
actually using those things is amazing. But like they're also like the most comfortable hand
Hmm.
rests ever for rucking. I don't know
They are.
how else to describe it.
And then they have other uses too, like this weekend, because we got two new puppies and they came with us to
Ooh,
when I was doing the rock. And so, because we were doing loops and Juan Carlos handed one to Amber so that she could use the ruck strap to put all three leashes together and then just hold the ruck strap for
awesome.
the dogs. I'm like, never would have thought of that, but yeah.
I have used those for small sandbag handles
Hmm.
and doing a sandbag drag where we attached one to another ruck just on the back and drug it behind us, kind of like a high drag. And ooh, man, that was spicy. But
Well,
no,
that is a
those
good
those are
idea.
really those have been a good investment,
I'm
and
gonna have to
they
tell Juan Carlos that one because we've been trying to figure out some new ways because we want to start kind of doing, and that's one of the things, eventually I'm probably gonna reach out to you to try and get some ideas too because I know your brain isn't sick like ours, um, to come up with some ideas because we want to start doing some stuff like we used to do, with the Beast workouts up there, stuff down here with the UA group, and come up with some ideas on doing stuff to try and get people, more people down here involved.
have tons of old workout schemes and ideas. You're welcome to beg, borrow, and steal at any time. Get
Oh
somebody
yeah.
off the couch at least one time. It's worth it.
Oh yeah, and I mean, we did so many. I mean, and I think part of it too is that one of the memories popped up of doing the workouts at my house back in Puyallup
Oh,
with
that
you
was
and
so
everyone
fun.
else. And I was thinking about too I wish I still had the Atlas balls, but I left those with Dawn to do the Easter egg hunt. That was one of your best ideas, I swear, was the Easter egg hunt. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that
Taking the
was
Atlas balls to hide them, but then you have to go get them as the Easter egg hunt.
and in a short time frame too. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, so fun! Like trying to hide this giant ball. You got like 30 seconds.
and then everyone's running to grab them and bring them back. Oh, that was a good one.
Oh
So,
man, that was fun. That was
hmm
fun. I had totally forgotten. It wasn't until you said that I had forgotten about. That was a good time.
no, it was. I was thinking you could still do that with like even like the kettlebells and everything. I mean, you could
Yeah,
find ways to do. Seeing Easter's next weekend,
yeah. There you go. You could
so
even take heavier ones and strap like different colored ribbons to them, and maybe those are worth like extra points.
there we go.
There you go.
See, now we're coming up with crazy ideas. So, so I know we weren't supposed to just come on here and reminisce, but I
Oh,
like
this is
reminiscing
good.
with you.
I'm having a good
This is a
time.
blast. So I miss my bees family. I really do. I think that was one of the things that COVID really took away from us. It took away a lot of our Beast family and, the family that we had. And then, of course, I moved to Texas, which makes it even harder to, do stuff. But, it's, I think back to some of the crazy stuff that we did, at my house and the workouts and then, just all that kind of stuff. And it brings back a lot of good memories.
Yeah, and you've got some really cool people over there, like Luck and More Heart Than Scars. That you've got a new one coming up there, and you've always got Patch up here too. But I hear you, right? I think I think, we're going to be talking about it for a lot of years is COVID and how it affected the events industry, the
Hmm.
race industry, OCR, events, music events, overall health and athleticism, people wanting to go outside, people wanting to socialize, kids wanting to socialize. Like, I feel like we're going to be talking about it for a long time and for a lot of good reasons, and there's a lot of not so great reasons. But one of the things I feel like that was tough is that sense of like athleticism community. For a long time it was just kind of at arm's length, if it was even there, right? I
Hmm.
remember doing hurricane heats where it was, you were literally no more 10 feet, you know minimum apart from each other. Kind of wild.
Yeah.
Still had some good times. It's just like high five.
Yeah. Distance high five.
But
Yeah.
like, and that's tough because there was a time where I think people were really scared to go outside, and I think there's a lot of people that they either thrived, it was a good reset and retool for them, and others where it was devastating, right? And
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways, and I hope, if nothing else, like, I hope people are willing to rekindle and look for new ways to plug into people just to go move, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, like, just move your body, right? Like,
Get out there and do something.
doesn't it could be a walk. You can go to like an axe throwing thing, like that's fun. You can go to a bowling alley. You can, like, you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to do crazy OCR. Just go move your body,
Yeah.
because the less we move it now, the less we're going to be able to in decades in front of us. And that's such a wild thought. But I hope people get excited and find ways to plug in. If it's a local ruck club, if it's if just a buddy that wants to go walk around the park or walk some dogs, like, find a way to get outside and find that community. It can be all sorts of things. It doesn't have to be metal based or anything fun like that. There's
Yeah.
a lot of great stuff out there, and it's
Oh, there
really,
is.
I even some of my extended family, right? Like, COVID hit and they just were like, yeah, I'm done, like, doing things, anything.
Yeah. Oh, it was big. I mean, that kind of happened a lot too. I mean, I got lucky. I mean, most people know I lost a bunch of weight during COVID, but then the problem is once once COVID ended, it was the adjustment back to normal life again. Plus I you know, the mental and the physical issues from crashing on the Ironman in 2022, kind of messed with my head mentally, and then physically my knee and my shoulder weren't doing so hot after that. But and then you get that whole mental issue. And then I was having that problem of readjusting back into going to work every day and doing all that stuff where I didn't have all that free time to run, and I think that's one of the things that got me. And I made the mistake, of once again had an injury and let it use an excuse, but I'm working now again to get back to where I should be. Like I said, I'm doing Ironman here in a couple weeks, so we'll see how that goes.
You're gonna do great.
It's going to be interesting because I have the new bike that I've had for a bit, and my biggest mistake is I've been going back and forth between the two bikes. I've had one that was on the trainer and then the other one that I would use outside. But the one I was going to use for the race is the one that I had on the trainer. So I
Oh,
finally took it off the trainer and then took it outside last week and then made some adjustments to it today. So I've just got to switch because I have two sets of tires and I have race tires that I got to put on it before the race. But I mean, it's, so I've been riding that, getting used to that. I swim 4 to 5 times a week because that's what I do at my lunch break. At
yeah.
lunch break, and instead of going out to eat, I make wraps that I take to work with me and eat one on the way to the gym, go swim for 20, 25 minutes, drive back to work and eat the other one on the way back to work. So,
Sounds like a great lunch break. I'm totally
oh,
jealous.
it is. It's yeah, because the LA Fitness, and the only reason I have an LA Fitness is because I would need the pool
Got the
is
one.
literally 2.5 miles from my office.
Oh, that's perfect.
So I can just go there, swim. Nobody's ever in the pool. Every once in a while, there's like one other person, but nobody's ever there at that time. Get it busted out. And I've like got the timing down perfect. If I'm between 20 to 25 minutes in the pool, I'll get back to work with like 3 minutes to spare on my hour lunch.
That's freaking rad. You're
So
gonna
I've
do
been
great,
trying,
man. I'm excited for you. That's a big
yeah,
deal.
been trying to find ways. My biggest thing, honestly, what's funny is what I'm more worried about on this one right now is the run, which because I haven't been, I've been doing 1 mile a day, but just not a whole lot more than that. So I haven't done the distance. I did this weekend, I did a couple, but I've got
Yeah.
this last weekend coming up to train, and then it's the weekend after that. So like week and a
Wow.
half.
hey, you know how to keep just going and going
Oh
like the
yeah.
Energizer Bunny. So worst case scenario is that run turns into a jog, turns into a shuffle,
Turns
turns
into
into a
just
walk or
finish.
crawl. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then the other one that amazingly that's been like the best workout for me, for Christmas, Amber got me the like MetaQuest 3,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they have this program called FitXR that has hit workouts and boxing. And I mean, within 20 minutes, there's sweat dripping off you.
Yeah.
The cardio that you can get on that thing is just insane.
My wife does Supernatural. I think it's what it's called on the MetaQuest, and she loves it. She'll do it religiously, and she'll do like the boxing and stuff on there, and it's like I've tried it, and I was like, oh, that doesn't look that hard, and then I'm like sucking wind in 3 minutes, and she does it for like an hour and a half, and I'm like, how do you
Yeah.
do this? Like,
Yeah.
it's a totally different animal.
It's different. Then I, because I'm insane, like, no, like, I'll put the ankle weights on my wrists for the hit workout and stuff like that to get that little bit extra. And then I'll actually even put the ruck pack on because a lot of the hit workouts are squats.
Yeah,
So,
getting spicy. I love
yeah.
it.
Hey, it's one of those things I swear I learned it from like you and everybody else when we do the beast workouts of like you come up with it and then you're like, how can I make this just a little worse?
Bet you could make this harder. Oh yeah, you want to see?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Let's
do
see.
it.
It's like Brian with the when he took the pipe and filled it halfway with water and then put
Oh
uh uh bricks hanging off the ends of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that was spicy. Or his homemade maces
Yeah.
for mace swinging. Oh my gosh, some of those were so brutal. I mean, fun, but
Oh
like
yeah.
just wrecked after 2 minutes.
Oh, his workouts. Yeah, that's one of the things that helped me a lot to keep so I didn't get too much bigger was doing workouts with him because you would show up and he would just have some like, let's do this, and you're like, that sounds horrible. Okay. Yeah.
This
He
is a
did
trend.
one
I
day.
know I'm gonna do it, but I don't want to.
There was one day when we were getting ready for like triathlons and stuff where we went to Lake Wilderness and he's like, make sure you wear shoes that you can put in the water and then to run in. And I'm like, huh? Okay. So we went to the lake. We swam like, I think it was 400 yards to the other part of the lake and then hopped out and ran like a half a mile back and then swam again. And we just kept like jumping in the lake and swimming for like 400 yards and then running and then swimming and then running. And I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, that's it's not type 2 fun. That's like type 2.5 fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Not
mean, he
quite
knew a way to
three.
like crank it up to a new level where you're like, this is stupid. Were we going to do it again next week?
Maybe a little different.
No.
Okay, we'll do
Yeah, yeah.
it.
So what do you got coming up?
Um, Man, let's see. I just did a half marathon ruck over the weekend. That was good.
Nice.
Was at well, I'll be at a few events this year, so I'll be at the summer death race. I was at the winter one. Man, not as many hurricane heats this year on the West Coast, right? So super bummed about that, but I hope fingers crossed. All the fingers that we get one in California, that'd be really cool to see. So, you know me, I always love that stuff. I find a
Yeah.
lot of I don't know, just introspective growth. I just love seeing people do cool stuff.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so doing some of those. Gosh, let's see. I'm gonna have to pull my calendar here to see what I actually committed to. We'll be at Summit to Swamp in a few weeks, so that'll be really exciting to be out on the farm on Randall. It's so much beautiful area,
I
and
know. I'm so mad that I'm gonna miss it this year.
she actually, so Hazel Anna, the owner of Summit Swamp, she converted part of her property into these really nice, like boutique campsites on Hip Camp with like its own, like really nice, like permanent outhouse, kind of like the really nice, like trail outhouses at like
Hmm.
national parks, like one of those.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
and it's just really nice, like tent or car or whatever you want to camp. And so it'll be cool to do the race with that, and then we'll do an event right after that We're calling it one, and that's a teams of two, kind of 10 to 16 hour event with only one finisher. So it'll be kind of a culmination of like all the endurance events we've done since 15, 16, like Coast and BeastBreaker and Ferals all wrapped together with the team, teams of two function. But the cool kind of quirky thing about that is if you don't make the cut, then you can be on the other side of the fence, and you can be part of an antagonizing force for whoever's still in it as the event progresses. So it gets harder the longer you stay in it, and then more
You have
people
more
are
people
working
against you.
the longer you stay in it.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's gonna be spicy, and worst case scenario is people hate it. So well, then we don't do it again.
Yeah.
We got Taco Mile in May. That'll be a lot of fun. We should have that up on Eventbrite here in a little bit. We'll actually probably do that the same weekend if folks want to do that in person, bring their own tacos.
I should get in on that one this time. It's been a couple of years since I did Taco Mile.
It's a good time. I mean, you don't have to sign up with us or anything. Just go do a mile and eat a taco every quarter mile.
And they're almost done with it. Literally a quarter mile down the street, they're making a Shell station with a taco place in it. So,
if you're feeling spicy, maybe do a taco and a tequila shot each quarter.
There we go. Yeah, that's one thing in Texas that's so weird is like up there every once in a while you see like a gas station with a food place in it.
Yeah.
That's just normal down here. They're all like that.
Yeah, that's not all Buc-ee's and
no. But they're like all the 7-Elevens have a Laredo taco inside a restaurant. Like the Shell station here has got its taco something express or something, and there's a restaurant like inside, like a real full-on restaurant inside every gas station.
See, we have, I mean, as you know, we've got coffee stands in like every other one. And then you roll the die to see if it's a regular coffee stand or a bikini stand, or maybe like, are you going to get arrested coffee stand?
Yeah. So one thing I do have to say down here, I do miss good coffee.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. There's some good coffee. Got some good roasters down there.
Yeah, but I'm talking like a good coffee stand where I was on my way to go to a workout, I can just stop and grab coffee. There's none. I guess I became a coffee snob living in Seattle.
Start your own.
It's tempting. It's tempting because they don't know how to make coffee down here, and it's freaking annoying. Even Starbucks is bad down here.
Them do like burpees or something.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't be drinking coffee anyway. I mean, not from Starbucks. I mean, but
Yeah. What else do we got going on? So I'll do the Montana Spartan and the Seattle one. I'm gonna be rucking one of those as a trifecta weekend. Just depends if my son will be running that weekend or not with me, and if not, then me and Janelle will be doing a ruck trifecta. It's been since 2017 since I've done a ruck trifecta, so I'm really excited to be feeling that love again. I'm leaning towards Montana just because that'll be extra brutal and fun. That'll be a good time.
I did, is it 21? The year we came back from COVID. So yeah, 21, I did Montana as a ruckfecta. I ruckfected that weekend, and that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. But
I'm sure I'll say that in a couple months.
Yeah. Because I didn't take it off even for the obstacles. I even did obstacles with the ruck on. So the only one I took it off for was the rope climb, just because I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's probably a good safe thing to do. And it's one thing to do an obstacle with like some of the stadium races where they have the tactical weight vests, the 511 vests. Those are really nice. But like it's kind of an even distribution of weight. When you've got it all on your back, you try to go up a rope or a monkey bar, it's a totally different feel. And even if you got that thing like cinched the hell down, like you feel it, and you can feel the weight just kind of back and forth. And
it almost took me over on Bender, because when I went up over Bender, I climbed up, and as I flipped over the top, the pack kind of kept going. And it if I hadn't had a good grip with my left arm on the side, it would have just spun me right off.
Bender, I feel like, is one of the more sketchy obstacles, right? If you don't got a good grip over there, it's already kind of funky, especially if it's wet, covered in mud, and it's like 2,000 racers have been through it already. Like you had a ruck on top of that. Ooh, that gets yeah, I would not blame a single person for rucking a race or having a weight vest and popping it off without.
Yeah, that was one that I'm like, I'll never do that one again. That was like, that wasn't a good choice.
And I'm scared of heights. I've always been scared of heights. Like you get me like 10 feet in the air, my hands start getting clammy, and I'm like, I'm not scared, bro.
No, it's all good.
You know.
Well, I remember when they first came out with Bender, it was Jody. Couldn't like she would freeze. So we had to climb up behind her.
that one
So
was that one was hard for a lot of people for
yeah.
gosh, ever. And I can't blame you because you're up there and it's just nothing.
Yeah.
And maybe you've got a crash mat underneath you or a hay bale off to one side.
Yeah, it seems like it's always in the weirdest spot. It's like that's not if I fall, that's not gonna do anything. If you fall off the inverted side, it might catch you, but if you go off the other side, you're done.
Yeah. What else? What else do I got going on this year? We are going to we're sponsoring the Showdown this year by Core Fitness. That's pretty exciting. Captain Kaufman down there in Portland and Core Events have been doing some really cool stuff. So we're sponsoring, like we're an official sponsor of the Showdown this year in June. That'll be really
Nice.
cool. They've got a really cool so a lot of the proceeds go to a really cool charity called 4D Recovery. So that is like youth recovery from like addiction, which
Mhm.
is really cool. They've got a kids version of what they call a combine. So think like NFL combine meets hybrid athlete meets strongman meets like playground fun and a little bit of crazy.
That's
And
awesome.
it's awesome. So they've got an adult version, you've got a kids version, and it's quite literally in a stadium. And so it's kind of like this like your own little stadium brawl. It's so much so cool. So I'm excited to go down there this year in June and just see a bunch of people and kids just do wild stuff. Like they have got I forget what Jeremy calls it, but one of the trials they have two athletes that are strapped to each other, and
Hmm.
then they have to look kind of like sumo, and they have to get one person over the line either way and try to pull like while the other person's working against each other. It's like this bungee, not like a bungee cord, but like this rope, and they have to try to like outwork the other person.
Hmm.
It's so cool and so diabolical. I'll send you the website so you can check out
You have to
some.
send me that so I can check that
But it
out.
sounds like a lot of fun.
It does. I mean, it's one of those things I've wanted to get down for. I wanted to get down to some of the core events before I left, but then I never got the opportunity to. I did do one of the. He had one that was like an online, I think a bike riding one last year that I think I did, but I mean, it was one of those things that's just, especially that last year, I didn't do anything last year because I was in such a trying to get the move all
Oh
organized
yeah.
and figured out, and yeah, driving across this country once. Amber had to do it twice within 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. That's
Because
so
she went with me and then flew home or flew back to Seattle because the other house hadn't sold yet. And I had to be down here for work. So I stayed in an Airbnb for like a month while she finished packing up and selling the house.
oh my gosh, that's so much work. Well, sounds like they should maybe get her some extra nice stuff. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
should feel extra loved up. Well, if
She's got a
you
nice
guys aren't
house.
doing anything June 22nd, I'll meet you in Portland.
I would love to, but I'm flying the next weekend to Seattle. So,
Oh, what are you doing up in
Sisu.
Seattle? Oh
Sisu.
yeah, Sisu. That's
Yep.
exciting.
So, the only races I'm really signed up so far this year is the Ironman in like a week and a half. And then I'm doing Sisu in June. And then like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks later, I fly back to Seattle to do Ragnar with Nick and
Ooh,
Brandon's taking the van one and I've got van two.
all right. I like
So
it.
it's gonna be interesting. So at least coming back twice. I was hoping I depends on I might depending I might come up for the Seattle Spartan, but I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Don's trying to convince me to, but I don't know yet.
Well, let's be real. Flights are not cheap
No,
right now, and that is a lot of back and forth.
it is.
Well, I'm sad I'll miss you. I'll be gone that weekend over in Vermont for the death race. But
Nice.
gosh, there's like 7 or 8 really good events that last weekend of June, and
Hmm.
it's like, or my Labor Day weekend in September too. There's
Yeah.
like 5 that are just like, how do you pick?
Yeah, because that same weekend, because I wanted to do Warx, and Warx is that same weekend
Oh
in
yeah,
June. So, and I'm
eight
like, oh,
eight great events.
yeah. So, and Warx just looks awesome. But
Yeah, I haven't listened to. I think you just dropped the War
mhm.
podcast yesterday, today.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Okay,
So,
I haven't listened to that one yet. I'm gonna have to
yeah.
get caught
Oh,
up.
Warx sounds amazing. I mean, it's one of those ones that, I mean, I think I talked to him like a year or two ago, and it was, yeah, he talked about it. I mean, there's gunfire. I mean, you get to throw grenades. I mean, it's, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
If
love
you're
it.
going to do any of it, I think it's in Ohio. If you're ever going to go to, it's either Ohio or Illinois, I can't remember. But either way, if you're ever going to go either one of those states, that's the only reason why I'd go.
One of my favorite grenade toss obstacles was from Rise events with Tammy in Oregon, and it
Yep.
was that dud grenade, but it was
Yeah.
almost like a cornhole toss. You had to like heave this heavy thing into this weird, odd circle,
Hmm.
and if it wasn't perfectly in there, you had a penalty. And it was so easy, and it was right at the top of this hill one year.
Hmm.
And I mean, you remember that? And it was
Oh, yeah.
like you get up there, you're sucking wood, and you try to throw it. It's like unless you slow down and get your breath caught, it's so
Yeah. Because
hard to
what,
make it perfect.
I think that was the year that was me, Jesse, and Tots. And Jesse went over it. Tatiana went perfectly right in the middle. And I was like, okay, you got to kind of roll it. So I was going to hit early and have it roll in. And mine just like stuck
Oh,
like 5 feet in front of it. Didn't bounce, didn't roll, just stuck in the ground. And I'm like, awesome.
I guess I'm doing the penalty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she had some of the, that was another one that had great events. The shooting events, and then that last year when it was just the yeah, where we had to pick up all the stuff and keep going back and forth.
Oh, it was so much fun. I love that. That was a good time. That
Oh yeah, she,
was well, and then there was a couple years before that. Do you remember when she had the keg weight and I knocked
yep,
myself
and you knocked
silly?
yourself out. Yeah,
My gosh.
I
So
remember
I
that.
I have an indentation on my chin still.
I mean, you hit
So I've
yourself
got a
good
butt
because
chin, but behind that there's a little tiny indentation right.
I mean, your eyes were glazed. I mean, it was one of those that I've yeah. I'm
It
looking at
was
Janelle going, you might
probably a
want to watch him
concussion.
for a minute. Like you might want to watch him. I think he's yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I probably
No.
probably should have got myself scoped.
They had
But
some good ones. I just remember too because I have my forearms are just small enough that the one where you had to pick up all the stuff, I like slid my forearms all the way through the all the kettlebells so I could pick up like 4 of them at once. And everyone's
yeah,
like, "Hey, wait a minute!" And I'm like, "She didn't tell me how many trips. I just had to take each
uh,
one."
no, yeah, yeah, that was creative. It was fun too because there were so many odd objects and shapes
Yeah,
and different weights. It was a good time.
yeah,
Yes, Tammy's a mastermind of that kind of good stuff. I
oh
also
yeah.
really like that when she had the shooting instructions. So
Hmm.
she did like the door breach with a shotgun. She had the rifle section of the race. But I liked when she had the pistol section that you had to be walking, moving with one hand, and then switch
Hmm.
to your other hand. And like I am not an ambidextrous shooter, right? So I was like doing okay one way. I switch hands, and it's like you know, it's a good thing we were at an actual range with a backstop because it was
Yeah,
terrible, right?
yeah. See,
It's
that
like,
was the one
wow,
I did
I've
good at because
really never practiced that.
I am ambidextrous. So
Yeah.
because we did what was funny too is one of the other events that they had, like I think the last one that she did, there was the pellet. They had a pellet gun and do kind of the
Yep.
same thing. You went through the a couple times, and the first time we came doing, I shot. He's like, okay, shoot right-handed. Okay, cool. And then the next time he's like, shoot left-handed. And the second I picked it up, he's like, you're left-handed, aren't you? I'm like, eh, maybe. I'm
But
like, how
I've
did you know? He's
seen
like, because you picked it up like you knew how to do it left-handed. I'm like, eh,
you can tell. You can
yeah,
tell who's comfortable. I mean, I grew up hunting and shooting with a 270 or a 308 mag, a long rifle. Like I didn't touch handguns. I didn't
yeah.
do any ambidextrous. I didn't switch shoulders. I didn't, whatever. Right. And I'll tell you, man, like that was like a realization. Like I've never done this. Holy crap. Like, because, like, the longer you live, you're like, there's not as many, like, I've not done this kind of moments
Yeah.
and something you do a lot of. Right.
But
And it was
it's
a
one of those
huge
weird things too, is sometimes
surprising.
when you do something like I forgot that I've done this before. Like I had an older brother who actually died in November, but he
Oh, so
was a
sorry.
total like survivalist lunatic. But he would take me when I was younger to go shooting and stuff like that. And that was one of the things that he would do because I mean I was born left-handed, but because of injuries to my left arm, I switched to right when I was younger, and now I can go back and forth. So he'd always work with me like, okay, if you're shooting with your right hand but you're hurt, what are you gonna do? So I had to learn how to shoot left-handed so I could shoot both. So it was like if you're injured, I mean, he just had that total mindset of, like if this happened, what are you gonna do? But he'd be the one too that we'd like go in the woods and he's like, here's like, a rifle, a fishing pole, and like go survive for a week.
Haven't done any of the tactical games, but
No, I
there's
want to
some
though.
folks that have done it, like Jesse or
Hmm.
like the Dominguez brothers, and like seeing some of their obstacles where like it's a sandbag drag plus like shoot and retreat. Like just the multitasking alone is so difficult.
Yeah.
And I like, for me, like I'm a fair weather shooter, right? Like,
Yep.
oh, it's sunshine, no wind. Okay,
Mhm.
there's the elk, right? Everything's good. All right, we're good, right? And like just trying to do those tasks all at
Mhm.
once is it's a lot, right? It's intimidating, and that looks
I've
like a
definitely want
really
to do those.
challenge.
Because it's
Yeah,
one of those things like you never think about, like where you hear about these shootouts where there's like 150 bullets shooting, and they're like, how is there nobody hit anything? I'm like, you go out there while somebody else is shooting at you
yeah,
and try and hit the target.
yeah,
It's not as easy as it sounds.
yeah. Especially if they're shooting back at you,
Yeah,
right? All of a sudden the game changes, right? I'm not a veteran. I don't have that
no,
experience. I've
I
never
don't either.
trained for that, right? Like unless an elk is charging at me, right? Then what am I going to do? Oh, right? Like that. I have maybe a few more seconds to react and a bigger target to hit back, right?
Yeah,
And but man, that's
yeah. Some of
that's a
those things that they
whole
do are
different
just
game.
make it completely different. Trying to drag something while you're shooting, so then you don't have the bracing of the other hand. And in some of those I've seen where it was like they were actually using rifles and doing that.
One-handed.
Yeah, one-handed rifle while you're pulling a sandbag, and I'm like, that's impressive.
Some of those rifles are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus pounds, right? And just holding that thing steady and having some semblance of aim is shoot like that. Your whole arm is getting ripped up,
Yeah,
right?
I'd be lucky if I didn't
Literally.
lose a foot.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, I'm probably not going to survive the zombie apocalypse unless like I stay in a corner.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty
So
much.
yeah, just so you know,
Yeah.
I won't be able to shoot and run and drag
Go to
at
the
the same
mall like
time.
they did. What was that? I can't remember which one that was. That they went to the mall and like just that way you had all the stuff.
Zombieland?
I think they
No.
might have no, it wasn't, but it was one of the older ones that they did. And I can't remember, but yeah, they went to a
Evil
mall.
Dead? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been forever.
It was one of the crazy zombie, yeah, whatever ones, but yeah. I don't know. I just remember the mall because they went to the mall because that's where like all of the gear was. So
Yeah.
you can get all the stuff that you needed to try and survive.
You know what that reminded me of? And I haven't seen this, I want to say, since 16, 17. But do you remember those zombie 5Ks?
Yes.
And there was one in Seattle where if you like they released like one zombie at first after like 1 kilometer or 1.5 kilometer. And if they tagged, like if they took your like ribbon, then you were a zombie too. And you had to try to get as many ribbons as you can. So you could get points by getting ribbons, or you could get or time without with
Hmm.
well, keeping your ribbon, right? And so it kind of turned into this like giant 5K tag fest, and it was so I haven't seen one of those types of runs forever, and
That'd
those
be
were
fun.
super fun.
So that'd be fun. So we do something that the URAT group we do one way they call it Taking Souls, where we
Yeah.
have like the flags, but then we run there's a loop that we have around here. It's 1 kilometer. And we run the loop. And basically what you do, if you catch up to the next person, you can steal their flag, so you stole their soul. But then they can catch up to you and steal it back.
See, then you just got to have a speaker playing like the 28 days later zombie music
There
with
you
the
go.
guys just sprinting at
Yep.
you. And you're going to
Yeah.
move after that.
Yeah. So it was funny because the first time we did it, like Juan Carlos was like right behind me. So I would like speed up enough that he couldn't catch me. And then catch my breath for a minute and then speed up again. And yeah, it was, I mean, it motivates you and keeps you going. You're like, you're not getting my soul. And then he got it. And then he like slowed down for a second. And then I booked it and ran past him again and stole it back. So, but it's a cool little, it's a fun little game to play. So,
Can I tell you about the time in our Ghost event a few years ago that Dirk tackled me? Dirk Van Velzen.
no.
So this was probably 2019. We had, I think, like 60 something people register, and I think we ended up having like 45 folks show up, and we were split into two teams, team versus team. And then one of the obstacles, so it was kind of choose your own secret mission, right? And the
Hmm.
title of the mission didn't beguile what the actual mission was. Sometimes it was intentionally throwing, sometimes it was true or not. And so one of them was like find me, and you have a certain amount of time to do it or not. And there was a huge field in Montesino, and it's like 2 in the morning, and I was out, like I knew it was coming, and so I was just laying flat, like in that field, 2 a.m. right, whatever, and I didn't think about it, but one of my straps was reflective, and so like they had like 3 minutes left to find me. And there's people go. It's like a couple like 100 acres, people going
Hmm.
all over the place to try to find this dude. And then a car drove by at like 2 something in the morning, and I guess I lit up like a Christmas tree because the people were like, "He's over there," and like it felt like a little bit like a scene from like a zombie movie. And I went one way, but I didn't see that there was Dirk all the way over here, and then there was Lorenzo over here, and these guys just they almost like straight sandwiched me, and I ended up just getting like straight bear hug tackled by Dirk with like 30 seconds left. I thought I could outgun him, but I just could not. No, they had some wheels right then. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I know that sounds like something Tony did last year on the Sisu, where he put on a Bigfoot outfit and actually was like hiding from us. And the stupidest thing is because we were all like looking like, out in the woods, "Ooh, he's gonna be way over there." He was literally like 5 feet away from us, sitting inside the net watching TV.
That's awesome. I love
So we
that.
would have just like opened the like because it was a net too, but it was just enough like of the net that you couldn't see perfectly unless you shine the light. But he was sitting there in the thing watching TV. None of us thought to look.
That's amazing. You know what my favorite thing about all of this is all of this stuff we're talking about, obstacles, events, it's all just being a kid again. It's all
Mhm.
like playground stuff, like hide and go
Yeah.
seek, tag, obstacles is a giant playground. Like, hey, it's cool just to let your inner kid fly. But I mean, think about that. Like, how excited do we just get about playing like basically hide and seek and tag? Like, man, that's just what we need. Like adult hide and seek league. Maybe you get, I don't know, beers in between rounds. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right. But
that
you'll
does
get
sound
people
fun.
out there.
And that is too. I mean, it is true. I mean, a lot of the stuff we're talking about is just being kids, and I think that's one of the things I started to lose my love for like Spartan and OCR, and I think a lot of it was because I lost that community that I had when with the Beast when we were like when the Seattle races, if you yelled, how deep, you would hear balls deep from
Oh my
all over the
gosh.
freaking like place, and that community just hasn't been there as much for me anymore. And then I did a couple races with more heart than scars, and I think what really opened it was Houston. We took three people with cerebral palsy through the sprint after the Beast. So, because I actually did all four that weekend, I did the Beast and then helped the three races with the cerebral palsy. And one of the guys, wheelchair bound, everything else, never thought he could do this. And as we're going over the A-frame towards the finish line, he screams at the top of his lungs, "I'm a badass motherfucker." And I'm like, that's why I do this.
Hell yeah,
Just
dude.
he was so excited, and it was just like there's that emotion of being a kid, like helping your friends get through something that they never thought they could do. And you're like, okay, now this is why we do this.
You just, yeah, absolutely. Right. Or you see somebody like tear up because they crossed the finish
Hmm.
line somewhere, and like maybe they had mental trauma that you never see. They had
Hmm.
some type of other trauma, or maybe they just beat themselves up or were in abusive relationships and never allowed themselves to think that they can do things. and you just see that piece, right? And a total marshmallow too. I'm like, yeah, bro, like we did it, right? But just seeing that, like, oh my gosh, it's such a fulfilling thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, it is.
Um, you just inspired me. So we've got so August 10th, we're gonna do trail mix in Randall,
Hmm.
Washington. So that'll be the 10 hours. So 5K, 10 hours of either running or hybrid stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be first time in Randall. We'll be out about 400 acres on the Hazel Anna's property at Summit to Swamp. But we're going to do our Beast 10-year anniversary party that night. We'll camp out and what have you. We can and we should totally play tag or hide and go seek, like night hide and go seek.
Oh yeah.
Maybe tag the next day after like pancake cook off or something. That would be so much fun. Even if it was like five of us dummies just chasing each other in a circle, like
Hmm.
that is worth getting sweaty over. I'm into it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Having tag. I mean, there's so many things like you said. The tag earlier, we were talking about the Easter egg hunt,
Mhm.
and just how much fun that was. And I mean, it's just those things that when we were kids, that was so much fun that we've gotten so into. And I mean, I'm guilty of it. I mean, the TV and video games and everything else. And half the time that the fun is just going outside. I mean, it's society is so different now. Like my neighbors, we've been here, what, 8 months now? I met him this weekend.
Okay. Oh wow.
Like we've lived next to each other for 8 months, but we've just
Yeah.
never like said
Yeah.
hi and never met each other. So I finally met him this weekend because we both happened to be out in our driveways at the same time. And I'm like, oh, hey, hi. You know,
Wow. Yeah. No, I mean it makes sense, right? And people are so kind of horse blinders
hmm
in their own area and lives and just trying to get through the day or dude, I mean, it's the same thing. Like like the last couple of years have been tough on me. I've had, we had a lot of family die. We had during COVID, we had a lot of changes in jobs. I started school and like it's so easy for me to be in front of a laptop for 16 hours a day and then just go, what am I doing for myself? What am I doing to like get our family moving, right? And
hmm
gained the weight, had a hard time socializing or getting outside or just being friendly to our neighbors, right? The neighbors over here are so cool. Like literally, they're awesome people, right? But just not making the space to go, get outside and be a kid. And then you do it and it's so fulfilling. Yeah, just
Yeah.
I don't know, just moving in general with people and being sociable with it is like the coolest thing ever. And I'm just so glad to have met you. I'm so
hmm
glad to have met so many people across the
Oh,
United
yeah.
States and Canada that just want to go move. It's freaking rad, dude. This
Yeah.
is so special. You can't let
It
this
is.
stuff fizzle out.
And I've got so many friends. That was the coolest thing when I moved to Texas. I mean, I already had one friend who lived here because I met her when we did when I did Dallas Ultra, a couple years back. We haven't done a whole lot lately because she's insane and because down here we have the Galveston Ironman is the 7th of April.
Okay.
And I'm doing that, and that's a half because I'm hoping I can finish a half. The full is 2 weeks later out of the Woodlands, which is where I live, and she's doing the full. So she's been like hyper training because she's doing the full Ironman. I'm like, I'm not ready for that
That is
crap.
not easy.
No. So
That's
she's
not
she's
easy.
got it though. Jamie's a beast. I mean, she isn't. Yeah, she's gonna kill it. But she's the one that got me involved with the URUT group. So she hasn't been doing as much because of the training. So, but the URUT group is amazing down here. So, and it makes me feel like a kid. All the ideas with Juan Carlos and trying to figure out new ways to make things harder.
That sounds like so much fun. I'd love to come visit.
Anytime
Speaking
I got a spare bedroom.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Dave stayed
We'll
in
have to
it.
talk offline because I think I'll have a work trip not too far from.
Yeah, because Dave
Um,
stayed when he did the Houston uh trifecta weekend. He stayed here.
I think my work trip is in Austin, but we can figure something out.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of badass ladies doing badass things, did you see Jasmine Paris is the first woman to
Who
finish
didn't
the
see
Tartu
that?
Marathon?
That was
First woman to
amazing.
finish that thing. It was crazy because they've
90
had what
seconds.
in 30 something years they've had 900 something racers, but only 20 finishers. But they had five this last one.
Yep.
Right. And there was some weird internet drama like, oh, it's too easy now, blah, blah, blah. Right. But like, holy crap, five people just finished one of the world's most reputable, like monster races, 130 miles in 60 hours around mountains all day. That's brutal. And she did it in seconds left to go. Like, oh my gosh, how
Oh yeah.
freaking badass is
Have
that?
you watched the video of her finishing?
Dude, I can't watch it without tearing up. I'm so like, I
Oh,
just go in and see
yeah.
Marshmallow.
So do I. I mean, she's just. I mean, she's pushing and everyone's screaming, like, "Come on!" And then she touches the gate and just like collapses.
You can just see like so many emotions and
Yeah.
just so much exhilaration and the adrenaline pumping and like just the massive physical trauma and weight of 60 plus hours of preparation, anxiety, waiting for the constable, and then just moving. Holy crap.
And this was her third attempt.
Yeah. Yeah. And there
So
were people that finished multiple other times or other years there. So these are not people
no.
that, oh, it's not easy. Like these are people who have trained for ages to do
Yeah.
this stuff.
And there was one part I know because there's a cutoff spot where I guess she made like they said that when she went past one of the like checkpoints that everyone was like she doesn't have enough time. She's not going to make it. So they didn't think she was going to make it in
I wonder
for
if
that
that
fifth
was
lap.
making her motivated to move faster.
Oh, but she pushed.
So I wish her and all those runners the fastest marathon or recovery ever. But you know what? I can't wait to see what those guys do next because it's just so cool seeing what people can do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that what all this is? It's just a celebration
Oh, it
of,
is. And I think what amazes me about her too is most people think, oh, it must be some like, young lady just out of school. Well, no, she's like a mother of two, like what? I don't know. I think she's in her 30s somewhere, but still, I mean, she did it.
yeah, and that's all we need to know, right? Like
Yeah.
she did it. 40-year-old vet.
Oh, 40-year-old. There you go. Yeah, Scottish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, ladies, doesn't matter if you're in 30s, 40s, 50s, you can do some pretty freaking badass shit.
you can.
Yeah.
And we've seen, I mean, even in our group, we've seen some badass things happen.
Yeah. You know what amazes me? And I don't know if this is just me and my age showing or whatever, but how many people in their 50s, 40s, and 30s, or like they turn 30, and they're like, I'm old now. I can't do anything. I don't want to. Or like, my back is going to hurt because I'm 30 now. Or like, I can't do those things because I'm 50. I'm
Hmm.
like, dude, you have decades ahead of you. You have
Yeah.
amazing things you can do, and you're just buying into this facade that like you're gonna be in pain all the time. You can't do anything, so you have to like let yourself go and not try wacky things. Like, I don't know, does that stuff bug you when you see
A
folks
little bit,
just
yeah.
kind of eat themselves up and limit themselves?
Oh, yeah. It drives me nuts. I mean, I didn't do my first Spartan race till I was in my, what, I was 35.
Yeah, and you're still
So, I
doing
mean,
it.
and I'm still doing them. I mean, you got Paula Chance out there who's in his, what, 88, I think?
Yeah, he's getting close to 90 now, isn't he?
Yeah,
Because he
I think
started
so.
when he was 82.
Yeah,
82, is that right?
I think so. But yeah, I mean, he's in his 80s and still out there doing it without help. I mean, this
Yeah.
isn't like, like we've helped people like, we helped Marla through who's got major injuries.
Marla.
We got Marla through the world's toughest mudder. We got 30 miles with Marla in
He's
a
an
wheelchair.
absolute sweetheart.
Marla's a sweetheart. I mean, we got her, but she's still out there doing it, and she's actually wants to do with the North Carolina Fayetteville. We're doing the Ultrafecta weekend
Ooh,
with Marla.
gonna be spicy.
Yeah, with Marla. So, but she's had surgery, and I think she's walking a little more now. But she'll have, part of it'll be in the wheelchair, but we're gonna get her through it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. And you know what? Even better. That's even more victorious, right? Like that's a badass thing to do. And a lot of people would just be like, "Hey, I'm done now."
Yeah. No. No, and I mean that's it. I mean, you hit age is just a number. I mean, we all have injuries. I mean, I have my knee right now angry. As soon as we get done with this, I'm gonna be like slathering my knee in CBD oil and wrapping it up to hope it feels better tomorrow. But I mean, it's part of life. I blew my knee in junior high, and it's always been kind of an issue. And as I get older, I
Right.
can tell you when the weather's gonna change. I mean,
I had a snowboarding accident in 2010, and I make weird creaks and pops, and I have two separated AC joints that don't have very many ligaments on them. right? And they make weird noises sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And they like randomly, like I think I can feel storms coming. Either that or I just think I can feel storms coming. Right?
You know,
But like there are days when I'm like, I can't pick up that heavy ball because it's gonna hurt my shoulders. And then wow, right, like feels good, right?
yeah. I mean, hey, none of us want to go out laying in a bed. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't get into Valhalla while laying in a bed.
No.
You got to go
Sounds
out
like a
fighting.
bed made of swords.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you got to go out fighting. So that's me. I'm gonna keep going until my body just gives.
Where's that story? There's a guy, he rode the Atlantic 3 times in his life. The last time when he was like 71, 72, and then he was hiking Kilimanjaro. He got to the top and then took a nap and then just passed away right there on the top of Kilimanjaro. I'm gonna have to find the article of that gentleman. It was
You
just
have to find
incredible.
her.
Like he just lived his life, just always exploring and doing crazy things. And then it was like he was like, okay, I'm done, right? And just laid down, took a nap, just passed peacefully on the top of Kilimanjaro. Like what a what a badass. I was just reading
That
that the
is.
other day. I'm gonna have to find that article and send it to you.
And there's so many articles like that where you got the one where the guy in Australia on the race, the old farmer guy shows up, and I can't remember his name because it's the shuffle that everyone talks about, and when you're doing ultras, that would basically change the entire way we do ultra marathons.
Yeah.
Because everybody else would take a nap, and he's like, nope, and just kept going, and everyone's like, well, who's this crazy old farmer? He's the one in the lead, so I don't know why you're asking who he is, but he's the one winning. And the same thing was there was the bike race with the same where they said, "Oh, you're too old and you don't know how to do this," and he beat everybody by like 24 hours. By the time everyone else finished, he was having, tea with the freaking king. So it's like,
Insane.
and I think he was like
Insane.
78 or something like that. So it's like, dude, do what you can do.
If I'm a tenth of that awesome, I'll be happy.
Yeah, just go out there, do. It's one of those things for me. Until my body says no, I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep going anyway. So, I mean, we've seen each other both where our bodies are like, you're done, and we're like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude, and we just keep doing it anyway. So,
Yeah. Well, and that's honestly, I think 20, 30, 40 years from now, we're gonna be happy, right? Because there's like you see the people that are moving their bodies, when whatever move it is, and they're totally different than their peers of their same age, especially the older you get, right?
mhm.
My grandmother was swimming in the Senior Olympics until she was 94. And you just like she was so mentally cognizant and physically in incredible shape compared to her peers. Like she was driving and like really well in her 90s. And not like, oh gosh, get on the road, grandma's coming, but like she was all there. And a lot of her peers just weren't.
Yeah.
And all she did was she was active. She did swim and track every
Mhm.
day for 40 something years. And it just goes to show like it literally will give you better quality of life for longer. And right, we're gonna have aches and pains, but like, dude, there's a lot of badasses out there that just keep moving. You're gonna keep being badass.
I mean, you're gonna have some aches and pains, but that comes with getting older. I mean, look at like how many people that we've known that we grew up with that whatever that didn't keep moving, and they
Mhm.
have just as many, if not more, aches and pains than we do because our bodies aren't, I mean, I hit 310 pounds and it hurt to move because my body wasn't designed to hold
Yeah,
that much weight. Once I dropped the weight, all of a sudden my body hurt less
yeah.
because it was less weight and it was moving. And by moving, I mean, I'm not, Janelle would be the one to ask the things about how your body works and all that. She's got all the
Yeah,
degrees and she's the smart one. But, like you're moving and it makes the muscles hurt less. I mean, it sounds weird, but just you keep them moving, they don't get tight. It feels like the more I move my legs, the more lubed up my knees are rather than grinding and everything else. And just move.
versus sitting on the couch all day and then you finally get up and it's like an old ship creaking into the
Mhm.
harbor, right?
That's the hardest part for me right now is the drive back and forth to work. So that's an hour drive each way. So when I get out of the car, my legs are like, oh, I've been sitting for too long. Like even in my office, I go, my boss was surprised how much time I spend out on the floor, and they're like, why? I'm like, one, I don't like sitting in my office that often, and two, it gets me moving, and I get to go meet everybody.
Yeah.
There's a reason I go home with over 10,000 steps by the end of my shift. on and off his job.
Badass. Well, my friend, I need to let you run. I've got a gym date that I'm a couple minutes late to.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you as usual. We should do this more often. Just kind of find out what's, get to know what's going on and get everyone, excited about doing stuff with the Beast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'll find you that article on that gentleman that rode the Atlantic 3 times. I just read it a couple days ago and was going, you'd love it.
Oh, yeah. Send that with me. That one sounds awesome.
I'll find it for you.
All right. It was great talking to you. Tell Janelle I said hello.
Will do. I'm going to see you in a couple minutes. Thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes and talking shop and getting a little marshmallowy with me about moving.
All right. Sounds good. We'll talk soon.
Later, Mike.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet Podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.